Alright, so I'm going to talk about 3 things that will help an INTJ to succeed. And my first tip is to remember that perfection is a theoretical concept. And that's because INTJs are usually perfectionists, and there is a backside to that. The backside is that in a lot of situations there isn't a perfect solution. Because perfection is something that's very theoretical. There is always something that could be better in reality, and there's even a lot of times where the solution isn't perceived as good at all. There's some solutions which will mean that you have to go through pain or suffering, or because it's just simply the best way to go. So my tip is to remember that the right way, the right choice is not perfect. It's simply the best possible option in the real world. So once you've understood this, it's a lot easier to cope with the negative effects of your choices. Because if you know that you've made the correct choice, there's not much to talk about. You come up with the best possible solution for your problem. So number 2 is communication, and this comes as no surprise for INTJs. Now I've learned this the hard way, that there's a lot of people that communicate in a different way than we do. So it can be very good to learn how to reach people in a more efficient way. Because let's say someone uses a technique in a wrong way or something. Let's say just someone I don't know, fries a burger in a bad way, if you could do that. Now the INTJ way would be to pretty much just right away bring the solution. Just say, all right, it's actually a lot better if you do this, or just blah blah. The thing is that a lot of people around us, most people aren't INTJ, which mean they will react in different ways. They have different processes. So that means that if you tell someone in a very blunt and straight to the point kind of way, they can get offended. Now what they want to hear is, they want you to wrap it in, kind of instead of just, they want you to put it in this kind of nice kind of box of words. And I'm not a specialist at how to do that, and there's probably some other people that can tell you how, but it's a good thing to think about, that when you want to reach people, think about how you say it. Because no doubt you have a lot of things to say, and it's probably correct. And if people listened, they would probably be better off. But the problem is that they won't listen unless you tell it in a way that they want to hear. The third option is a little bit similar to number 2, and that's beware of conformity. Conformity is something that's very dangerous for INTJ, and the world is a lot more conform than we wish it to be. And that means that there's usually things done in certain ways because they've always been done in that way, or the majority of people feel comfortable with it being done in a certain way. It also means that, for example, you can have a really good idea, you can have all the knowledge in the world, but unless you have a degree or a piece of paper to show someone, they won't exactly listen to what you have to say. And it's hard for you to implement your ideas unless you have some sort of knowledge about conformity and how it works. Because like I said, our society is growing very conform, which means that there's this fixed set of ideas and these standards. There's these ways to do things that's very, common ways to do things, you could say. And as an INTJ, we like to do things differently. So it's good to know how to implement our ideas in a very conform system. So therefore it's good to, one tip is to, for example, talk about your ideas with someone who's perhaps more extrovert, or perhaps, definitely someone has a different personality type. A degree helps a lot. People will listen to you more if you have a degree. It's just how it is. Even if you would have the same amount of knowledge, that's how conform our society is. It would make all the difference. So that's 3 tips, 3 good things to think about if you want to succeed as an INTJ. And yeah, I think it's good for anyone to hear, but especially the INTJ community. So thanks for listening.